Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. I will connect here. We'll see what comes through. Uh, Bells might be a little loud, so you may want to turn your volume down if you are sensitive. And if it resonates, feel free to like or comment. If it doesn't, don't make it fit. It's going through like flashes of different areas. It's going from darkness to flowing water to stagnation to a desert to a rainforest. There's a lot of transitions here, a lot of steps. There's obviously someone on a healing journey, healing path, and uh, water is very important. Looking at the emotions, but the purity, the movement, the like cleansing aspect of it. But when we look at emotions in general, uh, it is moving them, using them, healing them, working through them. I've been working on uh, looking up or making something that had to do with like the opposites of all the emotions. So I've been saying that a few times in recent videos, and I'm like, well, if you're stuck in this emotion, let's look up the opposite. And I had to go through and actually feel all these negative emotions, and it was kind of funny. Like the one, I forget what the word was, but it kind of meant like you were stuck, you were all over the place. Man, I was stuck in there for like 15 minutes. I couldn't get my head straight because I was in the emotion. And when we're in these emotions, how do we get out of it? How do we move forward? How do we actually take, you know, a movement? How do we get out of it? And I'm not saying, you know, bypass it, push it away like it doesn't matter, but how do we process it? How do we get through that? Clearly, there were steps when I was flashing through all these different landscapes, but it really is heightened around our emotion. What emotion takes you to certain places in our mind? A lot of times there's certain songs or even certain frequencies that when I hear them, it takes me back to a place where I was in a certain emotion or a certain stage in my life. And sometimes there are certain songs that just make me think of winter, like it's snow and it's cold and we're hunkered in. If you're experiencing things like this, it might be a clue if it's taking you to another time of your life. What was going on during that period? What were you healing from? Maybe you were trying to heal something during that stage and we didn't fully get through to it. So it's coming back as a reminder, and maybe we're ready now to fully let go of it or heal it. Paying attention to these memories or these feelings and thinking, well, maybe I felt this way back then, and what was going on there that I didn't fully release. We're getting really heavy chills when I was talking about that. Uh, Six of Swords, a brighter future. Clearly, we're working towards it. We are open to this healing. We are conscious of what's really going on in our mind. We're taking accountability. Maybe sometimes we're taking too much accountability. Uh, Another thing that's coming through right now is not every feeling is ours at times. Maybe we are telepathic, we're a psychic empath. We're picking up energies of others, naturally in our walking life, but also ones that are from our past, in our past relationships, or even those that maybe we just met and we're starting to talk to. And why am I feeling this way? I was fine and now I'm feeling insecure or something like that. Where is this coming from? If we're picking up these things, maybe we need to spend a little more time on focusing. Is this mine? Is this theirs? Where is this coming from? But excuse me. going back to in the beginning how uh, I was being taken back to places and these emotions, I think uh, I really felt pulled to focus on memories and maybe times and places where we were feeling a certain way and we didn't fully let go or heal from that, and it's popping back up to finally be released. I'm not sure how that may be fitting into your experience, but like as I said, for me it was seasonal music, certain frequencies at times. Maybe you are, uh, how does your God, spirit, source, divine, your angels, your guides, how are they communicating with you? Uh, Anytime that I may be having a thought that I'm questioning, I usually get a confirmation. A lot of it is in sound, uh, whether music or sirens, physical sound, uh, noises in the wall. We can think, yeah, what's the word? Schizophrenic. I know if anybody's watching that is not open to this stuff, they'd probably think you're nuts if you would say that. But there are more confirmations than we may be paying attention to. So paying attention to our thoughts and what takes place. Is this a good thought? Where am I going with this? Or is this my confirmation that, hey, maybe I should look at this? I should let this go. This isn't mine. Ask, if that's what it gets to. If you're new to it, just ask for confirmation. Why am I feeling this way? Is this really mine? And then just ask for uh, how to confirm that. You can do it subtly, or you can ask for something more extreme that would be random. But don't go looking for it. Obviously let it flow. So a card did pop out here. I don't know where it went. Maybe it popped out not the right way. So we'll try here again. Ace of Pentacles, potential. There's huge potential in uh, what's coming through is the communication. Try to get better communication or confirmations, whatever you're seeking, with the spirit. Whoever you're subscribed to there, ask for their help. Ask for your confirmations. You clearly have a gift, so allow that or be open to it. Sometimes we put a title or a view on it of how it's supposed to be. And maybe it was happening all along and we just didn't see it because we were expecting to see these types of communication or confirmations a certain way. It might even be just in our body. When we start opening up to these new avenues, you'll start to see more and more of it in different ways. Obviously, we don't want to grab onto everything and think everything's a sign. And granted, there might even be some infiltration of uh, other energies getting a hold of the communication at times. So we also need our own discernment there, but really being open-minded of how this communication comes through. Because they're here to help you. They want to help you. Is what's coming through, and uh, we might just be stuck. We might be a little confused. I get that. Is this mine? Is this not mine? Why am I all of a sudden feeling this way? That's a pretty good clue. Unless I did something or thought something to feel that way, what's really going on here? The Empress reversed, self-focus. Naturally, through this healing experience, we have chose to focus on ourselves. We have chose to heal this, to be done with these burdens, whatever they may have been that we've probably carried for most of our experience. Going back to the idea of like a psychic empath, you could have gone all life thinking you were a certain individual or you had these troubles when really they weren't even your thoughts at all. That's a big eye opener, and uh, really weeding these things out that if we carried this for so long, it's like, wow, that's not even who I am at all, you know, or even just on the base level of saying, naturally these things were fed to me or programmed into me, and it's not who I am either. But Uh, it's also what's coming through is accountability. And I think this collective is taking more accountability than they should. You know, that's not to be taken the wrong way. I love accountability. And I always go into everything as me first, not me. It is this mine? Am I creating this? Is this my emotion? Am I projecting this out? You know, is this something I still need to heal? I'm all about that, and I think that's a great place to be. It's taking full accountability. But what I mean by taking too much accountability is taking responsibility or ownership of things that aren't ours. And we had getting to a place that we need to decipher that to move forward naturally, but also uh, to be in a good headspace, to win, to be in your space. Excuse me, not taking things that aren't ours and owning it. We can also, uh, if the energy is here and we're unsure, we can allow it to pass through us. Come up with some sort of a system or a process. Excuse me. Come up with a process uh, that we're doing on our own and say, okay, I don't know if this emotion or this energy is mine. Allow it to pass through me if it is not mine. And if it passes through and everything goes away, well then, okay, it's not mine. You know, obviously that'll be personal to you and you'll know it. Like I just did it and I just felt it. It just passed through me. So, you know, that is my confirmation of, okay, this energy I'm feeling right now, whatever was at my throat, is it passed through me. It is not attached to me or, you know, altering my mind in a way that is making me think it's mine. And a lot of these things can play on old wounds, and that's kind of where it comes from. Is this a wound that I still need to heal? But is it just something I'm picking up because, and I recognize it more because I used to be in that place? Feeling a little anxiety right now. So that is a big one. Man, my throat, I'm sorry. So a lot of my anxiety, I came to understand, wasn't even mine. It was energy in general. And I carried that. I was picking it up. And I carried that for so long thinking, like, I really have a problem. Which, on face value, yeah, it would present itself that way. And I was experiencing it, so 100%. And when I started to really view it and discern it, that, hey, is this mine? Is this not mine? Am I picking things up? You're going into a public space and you're absorbing everyone else's stuff. Uh, that's a big deal. And you think it's you. So making that transition was difficult because I used to experience it. So I'm like, oh, I'm back to this place again. I'm experiencing this again. It's that shadow, the aspect in us that, or subconsciously, that, hey, we used to experience this. I'm still here. I'm gonna react or respond. My body's gonna do what it used to do because that's what we did. That's how we felt safe to respond this way. A lot of our body has to catch up at times, and we have to not necessarily turn it off like it doesn't exist, but say, hey, I don't think we're here anymore. I don't think we're in this situation, this wound anymore. Uh, let's reassess this, before we allow it to climax and turn into something. Let's be like, hey, is this valid? Is this necessary? Is this serving a purpose? Maybe something did happen, or I'm coming up on something and I am nervous about it. Okay, well, then that's probably valid. That's a fair reason for anxiety. Knight of Swords, a swift action. This is catching it before it progresses into anything. If we're just talking about anxiety in general, but also emotions, anger, rage, uh, from others, picking up on it. You're fine, and then you're split second, you're really angry. You went from 0 to 100, and you're like, what is going on? I was fine. I was just listening to a song. I was driving. Or, where is this coming from? Catching it and viewing it. If we want to do that, allow the energy to pass through us, or we want to do it in our mind and reflect. We want to ask spirit for some sort of confirmation. Is this mine? Is this not mine? Allow this to pass. Am I telepathically picking up on this? Who just popped into my mind? Okay, that's a good one. Uh, Granted, if you are connected this way and someone pops into your mind and you start to feel a certain way, it's probably not your energy, it's probably theirs, of really getting a hold of this to get to that place where we deserve to be. It is a gift. And a lot of people uh, will say, why are they putting this on me and stuff like that. And I get that. I was there too. But it's also our gift, so it's our responsibility of how to handle it. It's our job to learn how to control it, to use it properly. Five of Swords, confrontation. Uh, kind of gave off other people at first, uh, and it gave off this feeling of a bit of anger, because I think we're in a place that we're picking up how they're feeling towards us at times, and that upsets us. And I get that. I don't really enjoy that either. But how do we get to a place to be okay with that? To view that, okay, they may not be conscious or aware of their thoughts and how they're manifesting, because they're in a wound. I'm not saying that it's okay that they're in a wound and they're doing this. What I'm saying is coming to this place, how do I explain this? Coming to this place of a super high view and complete understanding of the purpose, the process, the cycle of everyone here on earth and their experience, is this huge view and understanding that, okay, on a very basic face value, everybody comes here, everybody comes with some sort of wound, probably everybody gets a wound dumped on them or created or indoctrinated into them. They have these experiences, and when we're not aware of it, we can't see it, we will constantly work out of this wound, whether good or bad, however we want to view it, onto others and onto ourselves. And when we're in this place, we're all doing it until we start to wake up to it and we start to see it and we start to heal. At that point, we're choosing ourselves, we're working on ourselves, we're coming into an authentic place. We're leaving this place of victimhood. People are doing things onto me. And when we get to this higher view, we understand the whole thing. And I don't want to say we have sympathy for them, but we understand why. We understand what they're doing. And sadly, as rageful and ugly as some things may be, there's like this little child that was abandoned and hurt at some point, that turned into a monster, if we will. If they're that bad of a person. Uh, and then there's this power struggle and all these things. When we remove ourselves from that and we view it differently, I'm not saying make it go away or be okay with it, but we understand. And that understanding frees us from the external, from others' behaviors. It is, which I think we need to do, because just this reversed imbalance, it is, I get the idea of being a victim to things. We are at times. There is a place and a time, but when we stay there, uh, we give up. We give it to them. We give what they did, and they win. They will continue to win, because what they did is still hurting us. Let's just say we were in a fight and we physically got hit. That created something physically, and we're still upset about that. We're holding on to it 10 years ago. They're still hurting us. We don't see it physically, like on my face if I would have gotten hit, but we're still there. They're still physically hurting us, and it's feeling in here. So that's where we have to uh, let go and move on, however that may look. I'm not writing any behaviors of anyone, but I'm showing how they're still hurting. It's still hurting us. Even though we don't see it physically, they're still winning. They're still putting this energy onto us. And we are okay with that. We are okay with them still getting through to do that to us. And I don't think anybody should be okay with that. Maybe if we look at it that way, it's easier to say, okay, I don't want this anymore. I don't want them to still be able to hurt me. And I'm allowing them to by still being in this place. Page of Cups, youthful emotions. This is viewing everything now as really coming into your power and playing with things, hopefully not in a malicious way, but playing with things, really directing our energy in ways, falling in love with life again. We're coming to this understanding of a gift that we have, and we're open to the more gifts and the communication with spirit and whatever we're interested in. Really coming into that place of manifesting and creation, being a true co-creator and making paradise on earth for you, and your external will replicate that. That is why we always say, collectively, if everyone, there's enough energy into something, change does happen. And that starts here with self. And when enough people do it, and their internal is reflecting, mirroring in the external, it changes. And then that's that new world that we all talk about at times. I'm going to leave this here. Congratulations, hang in there and think about it. Do you still want them to keep hurting you? Are you okay with that? When we're in those places, we don't think we are, but we're allowing it. It's a different way to look at it. I'm going to leave this here. If this resonated, feel free to like, share, or subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.